and didn't have a fee, on the show. And he paid You're cash a friend of nobody. You failed at your job. Really?
Okay. Well.
Hey guys, it's your girl Okwe and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the latest episodes of the reality shows Married to Medicine and the reunion part 2 of Real Housewives of Potomac. If you're new here, hey, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy what you watch and I hope you stay. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, and also turn on your post notifications so you get notified every single time I post a new video. And if you're a returning viewer, hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for all the love and support so far. I hope you are subscribed as well. And I hope you like this video. I hope you comment, and I hope your post notifications are turned on also. In case you didn't know, in my videos I do subscriber shout outs, which is basically shouting out my subscribers and followers on my different social media platforms. I'm shouting out their business ventures, their businesses, and all that in my long form videos. So if you would like to be a part of that, just follow the instructions in my description box, and I think the instructions on the screen as well. And yeah, for you to get featured on my channel. And with that being said, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this review. So we're going to start off with Real Housewives of Potomac. We resumed with Ashley and Wendy still going at it, insulting each other, shading each other and all that. And then at some point, it turns into this ridicule type of thing where Ashley is like saying 6'7", and Wendy is also like, responding back, with her own shade with the whole 6'7" thing. And I'm just like, what is this? Are we in high school? Like, why are we doing 6'7" at our big age? It just feels like deflection. Anyways, Wendy says she feels like Ashley is full of it. I really agree with her, and I think Andy ends up moving on to something else because clearly both ladies are not able to settle whatever it is that is going on between the two of them. They move on to talk about the private text between Ashley and Stacy, where Ashley pretty much said she didn't care about what Wendy was going through, and then Ashley says that she said that referring to the evil grin that Wendy had in her mugshots. And I'm just like, sure, Ashley, of course, you're going to blame everybody else but you for your own actions. She apologizes to Wendy's kids. Wendy says, my kids don't know you. They don't need your apology. And I'm like, period. It's too late for all that. Ashley then takes a minute to say she's not messy, but that pretty much the group of now is softer than the group of back in the day. So she needs to adapt to the current sensitivities of the girls on the couch. And I don't really think that. I feel like from the very beginning, Ashley has always been messy. Ashley has always been insensitive. Ashley has always been shady. It's just that the ladies on this couch now are not just going with the flow with it. Like, they're actually calling you out on it. And honestly, I feel like even back then, the ladies of the show used to call you out on it. Like, I remember again, like I said in my last video, when the Green-Eyed Bandits were not friends with Ashley and how they walked into her emo restaurant or kangaroo restaurant and, what's her name, Robin was pointing fingers at Ashley, like trying to get, down with Ashley basically, and getting a brawl with Ashley. And I also remember, the table knife situation with Candice and Ashley. Like, this is not the first time that the ladies are calling you out. I feel like it's the same thing actually. There's no difference. You've always been messy, and whoever it is that your messiness is directed to, they have always called you out on it. They have always, retaliated because of it. So I don't really know what point she was trying to make in that moment because it just didn't make sense to me. There's no difference, actually, now that I think about it, between how you are being held accountable now and how you were being held accountable back in the day. But yeah, or even with Karen's what's it called, tax situations with Ray back then when they were being shady, and Ashley had told what's her name, Karen, about like, oh, bar soap, like don't make sure Ray doesn't drop the soap in prison or something like that. And fast forward a few seasons after, when Michael had all these allegations to him, Karen retaliated, like, oh, remember that bar of soap, make sure your own husband doesn't drop the soap. So yeah, Ashley that point just landed flat. It didn't make sense. Everybody has always held you accountable for your foolishness. Um, of course, Giselle chimes in because she is the ringleader of messiness and agrees with Ashley, like, oh, the ladies on this couch are just soft and not as thick skinned as the ladies back in the day. And I disagree. Like I said, I don't think that's the case. They have always called out foolishness, both in Ashley's regard and both in Giselle's regard. In fact, Giselle should know this forte very well because they are always calling her out for bullshit. So yeah, I didn't understand the point that both of them were trying to make. Angel says she regrets not showing much of her bubbly side this season. I feel like, yes, in the beginning, Angel came off a bit sensitive and, wouldn't let go of petty things, little jokes, and all that. But the point where she now started to open up to the group, it felt like it was already too late. Like they already had this preconceived notion of the kind of person that she was based off her attitudes towards the beginning. So at that point, they were not even willing to give her a shot anymore. Like everybody was just turned off by her, if that makes sense. So it's just unfortunate that that happened to her. I personally would love to see her in the next season. I feel like we should give her another chance because towards the end of the season, I did start to enjoy Angel, and I did feel like her personality started to shine through, and she started to develop a thick skin for these ladies. So I'm hoping that they bring her back next season. Let me know what you guys think. They move on to talk about Ashley's stupid second bloom this season, which was, I guess, her theme for the season. And they ask her about her family, her dating life, Charisse's son situation or debacle, and Mauricio. They first ask about Josh, and we find out that they made up, I guess, after the cameras went down and are now dating at the moment. The ladies chime in that they find that very convenient because the last time they saw Josh on their screens, she was pretty much embarrassing him and breaking up with him publicly on camera. And then all of a sudden, now when the cameras are back, when the cameras are down, you guys have made up all of a sudden. Like, was that all for a show? Was that all for a storyline? Some of the ladies are thinking that, and I agree with them because I wouldn't put it past Ashley to make up a storyline just to keep her. What they even hold in Potomac? Is it flowers? Yes, like just to keep her flower and all that. So, yeah, something makes me think that that whole Josh breakup thing on camera was just for a storyline. And then they move on to the whole Sherry's son situation. And Ashley says she was asking herself, like, where was this energy when she had told Sherry's about the whole situation and they didn't understand it because I guess, in behind the scenes and all that, in conversations with Sherry's back in the day, and Giselle chimed in on this as well, like, Charisse would always make jokes like, oh, Ashley's her sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, this and that and all that. Like it was never like this big thing. So she was very shocked by, after filming Charisse's whole stance on it, considering when she told her in the moment, Charisse didn't really have much of a reaction. If anything, she was joking about it. Do I think that that was weird of Charisse? Absolutely. Like, and I agree with Wendy. Like that is very disgusting. I agree with Wendy and Stacy. Like, why would you even want to do anything with mess around with your friend's son? Like, no. When you came on this show, that boy was still a minor, if I'm correct. Like, he was probably like 17. So honestly, it makes me feel like Karen clocked Ashley from the very beginning because I remember in season one when Ashley was trying to do buddy buddy with Karen's daughter because I think they are closer in age than Karen and Ashley. And Karen was like, my daughter has nothing to learn from you, period. Because I feel like Karen clocked T on Ashley because what do you mean you're messing around now with people's children on the cast? It's ridiculous. And for her, like even one Andy to perpetrate this whole thing, asking, "Oh, who initiated it first?" And then Ashley has the audacity to tell us that it was Jackson. So you, the adult, could have turned it down. And she's like, "Oh, we're just 10 years apart." You are missing the point. This is your friend of this show or friend outside of this show's son. It is disgusting. You knew this kid when you knew this boy or you knew this guy when he was a kid on this show. It's not excusable. There are so many other 27-year-olds you could have picked out of in Potomac or anywhere in the States. Why was it your friend's child or your friend's son? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. They go on to talk about Ashley's stepsister and stepdad and ask about his rehab. She says it's not her business to share, which again I find is very convenient of Ashley. Anytime she doesn't want to share on anything that she made a storyline in the season, it's, oh, I can't really talk about that for their privacy, this and that. And I really hate how Andy just lets her slide with it. It's like, oh, okay, and then we move on. If it was somebody else like Angel now, or Stacy, or one of the newbies that said something like that, you'll be like, oh, but you discussed it on the show, you made it your storyline this season, so why can't you talk about it now? But I feel like production and Andy just give Ashley and Giselle especially a pass in this show, and I don't really like it. Like, everybody should be held accountable, everybody should speak on everything that they made a storyline in the season, because now it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden that's off limits for you to talk about, or all of a sudden now you're respecting their privacy. Why didn't you respect their privacy back then? Why did you allow your sister bawl her eyes out on national television about her dad's issues and everything? Like, if you really wanted to protect them at that point, or if you really wanted to protect them, period, you wouldn't have allowed that to be shown on camera. You wouldn't have had that conversation on camera. And all of a sudden now, because when you have already opened that door for us, the viewers, to say something or have an opinion about your life, now that you're supposed to answer questions on it in the reunion and settle things and tell us how, give us an update on how things are, it's suddenly off limits. Make it make sense. Andy asks Ashley if it's true that she's been with a politician. Stacey says that it's impossible, because she feels like Ashley doesn't have morals or doesn't have standards. I think it's very much possible, because maybe Ashley will sleep with anyone, Ashley would be with anyone. Ashley, as long as it's a guy, she will be all over him. I believe it personally. Like, I feel like Ashley has been around all the blocks and will be around all the blocks. So politician is not too far fetched, especially to get, some sort of fame or some sort of monetary benefit from it. I wouldn't put it past Ashley, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. Giselle lets us know that she thought at first that Ashley was referring to her when she was talking about, oh, she dated a congressman. Andy asks her why would she think that, and she's like, oh, she was dating one, I think after filming stopped. I'm just like, what is this pattern with dating people off camera? Like, especially with Ashley and Giselle, like, why don't you date these people on camera? I guess maybe Giselle has learned her lesson from her past love life, so she'd rather take the L's in private. Maybe that's what it is, but I just see now that it's a pattern between these two, especially to date outside of camera. And even actually Stacy, like, dating Chris off camera. Like, why are you guys dating these people off camera? Why don't you want to show your real life, your real dating things and all that on camera? But I guess it's to save you guys the embarrassment should it not work. And in Stacy's case, unfortunately, also save you the embarrassment of what your castmates are making this thing to be. So maybe it does make sense in terms of protecting your privacy to that point, at least. But I feel like if you're on a reality TV show, you should be comfortable to show enough to show your whole life. That is the whole point of you being on here. And you taking away the reality of things just makes it feel not as authentic. I don't know if that makes sense, but me personally, I will never do a reality show because I'm too private. I like my private life. But if you choose to put your life out there, you need to put everything out there. Okay? And Salt Lake City, I'm talking to you guys too, because again, in the previous season, in the season that just finished, a lot of things happened off camera. How can a lot of things in the season happen off camera when this is supposed to be a reality show? That's just my own opinion on it. Andy then asks Ashley what her plans are now for the future, and she lets us know that she is writing a children's book or is launching a children's book, whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, girl, please, I would never buy anything Ashley is selling. Never. Never. I don't even care if it's water that she's selling and there is a famine or a drought or something, food stuff, and there is like a famine. I'm not buying it. Oxygen, I'm not buying it. There's nothing Ashley can sell to me that I'm buying. Nothing. I don't want anything to do with her, okay? No. So I didn't really care to hear that. But anyways, the girls rally with her on that, and like they seem very supportive of the idea of her launching this book. Like I said, I mean, no, I don't care. They move on to Kiana, her relationships, her beefs, etc. And Kiana brings out the frame that Greg gifted her, and I'm just like, girl, you could have saved that one. You could have saved that one. We didn't need to see that. It just even made you look more foolish, considering you still don't have a ring. But okay. When Giselle is right on something, you know it's bad. You know it's really bad. So Kiana, hey, do you? Angel is trying to defend Kiana and her relationship with Greg and talking about how Kiana is an independent woman, smart woman, blah blah blah. And then Kiana stops Angel saying that, oh, don't worry, like let me speak for myself, type of thing. Let me advocate for myself. And I can see how, okay, in this situation now, it could be taken out of context of like, oh, she's shutting Angel down and everything, compared to the last episode where people said, you know, what's it, Kierna was doing that as well. I think that Kierna wanted to advocate for herself in this moment, not necessarily like shutting Angel down, but it did come across as that. So I feel like Kierna needs to learn to let her friends speak and then she can speak after. Because at the end of the day, Angel was trying to defend you. So let Angel get her point across. And then after that, you can buttress your own point and defend yourself. I just feel like she's just not handling it well. I don't think the intentions are bad. I just feel like she's just not handling it the best way. And it's giving people opportunity to interpret it however they like. So, Kiana, let your friend speak. Because it does come off as you shutting her down sometimes, even though most likely that is not what you're trying to do. You're just always hot, hot, hot. You need to calm down and you need to let other people speak. Okay? Cool. They move on to talk about the whole Wendy and Kierna beef, and Kierna says Wendy snub, and Kierna saying that Wendy snubbed her at the event that they were both at. Wendy then pulls out a picture on her phone saying that a fan who actually went to the same event took a picture of them after the event and felt that there was love between the two of them. So when she was watching the show this season and saw how Kierna talked about how things went in the um event, she was shocked because she had actually taken a picture of them at the event when they were even showing love to each other after. And then she sent Wendy the picture. And Wendy, that is what the picture that Wendy shows in the reunion. And Kierna is just like, no, 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 it's not true. It's not true. This is this, da, da, da. And I'm just like, the evidence is there, Kierna. Just say that you wanted forced beef with Wendy for a storyline this season because you didn't want people to pick on your marriage and all that, or focus on your marriage. So yeah, because it didn't make sense. If there's a witness there saying that things seemed good with you guys and you interacted in that event and there is physical proof of that interaction, your argument doesn't make sense. I have to side with Wendy on this one, unfortunately, for you. Stacey and Kierna. Stacey feels like Kierna was aggressive towards her at what event was it, Seth? And I can't remember the event that it was. The one that Cookie, got loud and was escorted out. Okay, it was reasonably shady views party because I think they hit 1 million views, 1 million followers or something like that. So yeah, during that event, Stacey felt like Kierna was aggressive towards her. And I kind of agree because I feel like Kierna was on 10 and the conversation was literally on like a 4. So yeah, Kierna has to learn how to match energy. She doesn't always have to be hot, hot, hot. She needs to be level headed and listen to people when they're speaking to her, even in conflict. So I definitely agree with Stacey on that. They talk about the cheese incident as well, which was, after that whole event, Stacey and Kierna had a lunch to try and settle things off. And even in that conversation while they were talking and trying to order their food, Kierna lets it be known that she is, I think, lactose intolerant, like she's allergic to cheese or something. And when the waiter comes and is taking their orders, Stacey orders something with cheese on it for Kierna. And it's like, okay, I love you, Stacey, but in that moment, it did feel like you were being messy because she literally mentioned it like a minute ago that she did not like cheese. If I remember clearly, it wasn't that Stacey was ordering food for herself; she was ordering it for the both of them. So yes, it did come across a little bit shady, Stacey. So you have to own that. You have to own that. Um, but then again, I also understand that they already had issues at that point, so I'm not really looking out for your best interest, if I'm being honest, if I have beef with you. But I mean, it's a health situation. What if she actually died from that? So I don't know. I get you're trying to be messy, but is it really necessary? Is that the right moment to be messy? Especially when it pertains to somebody's health and digestion. I don't know. I'm neutral on that one. Anyway, Jassi is introduced, and immediately Kieran and Jassi are going at it. Um, Apparently, they are both not speaking right now. Andy then asks Jassi what exactly did Kierna say about Wendy in their conversations, and Jassi says that even the things that she shared were not even were just the tip of the iceberg with that whole situation. Because Kierna had shared a lot more than she even let out. But she was just out of the respect of Kierna, she didn't share everything that Kierna had said about Wendy. Kierna says, "Don't waste your 15 minutes on me. Talk about something else, blah, blah, blah." Baby, when I tell you, Jassi was like, bet. She started running her mouth on Kierna, talking about how Kierna stole Greg allegedly from his ex-wife and he's raising Greg's kids. This, da, da, da. And my jaws were just on the floor, like, ooh, ooh. Girl, she said she's gonna make the best out of those 15 minutes that she has, and she sure did, because that just rattled the whole chair. Like that just rattled the whole stage. Kiana, of course, denies these allegations, and her and Jassi are going back and forth. They then move on, but they're not able to get to a result, so they move on to Tia. Andy asks Tia that we never see your husband. Tia says yes, that's just his personality and all that, but he was upset with the whole nanny statement that she made about him on camera with Giselle. And then they end up talking about, the tit for tat type of relationship that she has with her husband. And she says, oh, verbal abuse is one of her love languages. And I was just like, I hope that's one of the British humor that people be talking about, because that is crazy. I would hope you were actually joking by saying that. But they move on to talk about her reconnecting with her house sister, Amira, who I think is a half sister from her dad's side, which was very sweet. Like, even seeing that interaction was just really nice. And, as they are recollecting and talking about it, Tia had said that one of the main reasons why she chose to reconnect with her half sister was because of the passing of her dad, and just wanting things to be okay in terms of the family, and not wanting any kind of strife anymore. Because when the dad was alive, that was one of his um, wishes, that she connects with her half siblings or something like that. So Giselle resonates with that, because it reminded her of her own dad's passing. And then Andy asks her about the current situation with her dad's will. We find out that, unfortunately, the wife of the dad ended up getting majority of the dad's assets, majority of the dad's um, properties. But thankfully, the city of Houston is building like a park in remembrance of Giselle's dad, because he was, as we know, he was a civil rights activist involved very closely with the late Martin Luther King Jr. So yeah, that was really nice to hear that the city of Houston is doing that in honor of him. And it's just unfortunate that Giselle lost her I think custody battle, will battle. How do you phrase that? But lost her case to the woman that her father was married to, because I think for her it's more so the legacy and the things that would have been passed on to her children and their children's children and their generation, everything just going to the lady and all that. It wasn't necessarily about the finances to Giselle. And honestly, I feel bad for her, I'm not gonna lie. And it is what it is. They move on to Mr. Sunshine Gate, who it was the, I think, Caribbean or island bar owner who was flirting with Jassi. And how this whole thing started, the beef with Jassi and Tia, because while he was flirting with her when they were in Nevis, I think on their way back to their hotel, Tia was making some like light jokes, like, "Hey, Mr. Sunshine was flirting with you, blah blah blah," and it didn't really land well with Jassi, and I don't really know why, because why are you taking it seriously? She was clearly joking. Jassi says that it was inappropriate for Tia to say this. I still don't understand what the big deal is, to be honest, with Tia joking about it. Like, I think it was just girlfriends joking about something. And if we're being honest, we the viewers even noticed Mr. Sunshine having a fancy for you. Like, it was so obvious on camera. So I don't think it was weird for Tia to bring it up, because it was very prominent that the guy definitely had his eye on you and all that. Tia finishes up by saying, and then they both start arguing. They get into this verbally heated argument, and Tia finishes up by saying, "Your one job was to be the friend of the show, and you were a friend to nobody. You failed at your job." I'm sorry. Tia ate with that one. Tia ate with that one. Jassi was silenced by that. I don't care what anybody has to say. That was my highlight of the show. And this is why I feel like Tia deserves the second season. Because Tia has it in her. She has thick skin and she knows how to rally the ladies and, come for them. Don't come for me unless I send for you energy. Okay? Yeah. So I was very proud of Tia with that moment. And I hope that secured her flower. I thought, is it flowers that they hold in Potomac? But whatever it is that they hold, I hope it's secured for her based off that scene, because I really enjoyed that scene, thoroughly enjoyed it. Because Jassi couldn't speak after that. I think she went quiet. She went quiet and she made this like weird face. And in the words of Nini, I was like, "Fix your face, fix your face." Well, anyways, they move on to Stacy and Jassi, and Jassi's wedding, and Stacy not wanting to come initially until she found out that the other ladies were coming. Stacy says that we should focus on the bigger picture, which is that Jassi records them, and that she hopes that they were careful in what the other ladies have been careful in what they have shared with Jassi. Andy ends up asking the ladies who else feels like they have been recorded by Jassi, and I think Wendy, Kiana, and who else? And Stacy were the ones that raised their hand. And I think Angel chimed in like, yes, I think there was a point where she felt like she was being recorded, or there is something that Jassi does where it's like she would act like she's the only person that you're speaking to, but she has you on speaker with an audience listening to the conversation. I don't think that's cool. I think that's very weird. Yeah, Jassi is a little bit unhinged. Jassi is a little bit unhinged, and I would be okay if honestly she doesn't come back to my screen, because she just had some like trippy moments this season that were just from nowhere. Like, why are you reacting that way? Why are you like so heated for nothing? It just doesn't make sense to me. She comes off, or she portrays herself as this fun-going, easygoing, light-hearted vibes type of person, but in reality, she is very sensitive. Like, her and Karen actually should be best friends. Like, I would say they both have similar personalities. They're so hot for no reason sometimes, and they get to like a level of 20 in situations that just require them to be on a 5. So yeah, very weird. Anyways, they move on and take a break, and Monique is brought on stage. Girl, that costume is a no-no. We the viewers already said that. It didn't even look better even on the stage. It just looked very strange. It just looked like a costume in my opinion. But yeah, Andy congratulates her on her journey, her healing journey, and coming back to the show after 5 years. And we find out that this is the same reunions location that was used actually the last time we saw Monique in the reunion 5 years ago. So that was very interesting to learn about. Monique lets it be known that she's been going to court battles with her ex, Chris. Jassi chimes in saying it's because of Stacy, right? And then Monique is like, well, part of it. I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, we're already setting the tone for what is to come with this conversation. They go on to talk about, Giselle and Monique's relationship now. And Giselle says that she feels how Monique would have been cool back in the day if they had just talked. And I don't think that would have been the case, because I feel like even at the first moment we saw Monique in our screens and your first interactions with her, it was to shade her, it was to try and ridicule her about her not having a home or her being homeless. And immediately she clocked you saying, nope, I have 4 homes. And after that moment, I feel like you were guns blazing for Monique. So let's not come here and act as if, oh, you guys fell off over some reasonable situation, like it wasn't anything messy, and should you have just sat down and had a conversation about it, everything would have been fine. No, I remember multiple situations where you guys would have had the chance to sit down or had the chance to actually talk about things, and you just were being shady and messy towards Monique for no reason, it definitely came off as if you were actually jealous of her lifestyle. So I don't know if this flies with me now. All of a sudden, you saying, "Oh, if we just had a conversation about it, everything would have been fine." No, I don't think everything would have been fine. You were messy towards her from the very beginning for no absolute reason. You just had a personal vendetta with her that we, even the viewers, did not understand. They go on to talk about Monique and how she projected her marriage experience onto Angel and Bobby. Monique says she wasn't coming after Angel's marriage, and Angel says even Bobby was shocked, especially to hear all the things that Monique had to say about him, considering out of all the ladies, he vibed the most with Monique, and I think also that could also be because, Bobby's mentor, I think, is Chris, and in the beginning of his career, Chris had shipped some of his old things, jerseys, and all that to Bobby, like was very supportive of Bobby early on in his career. So I think that was also part of the reasons why Bobby had like an open hand for Monique this season. So even hearing Monique say all these things about him, Angel lets it be known that he definitely didn't like that. And Monique is like, yeah, she could definitely tell today that he was upset with her because he didn't respond to her and all that. And then, Angel is trying to say, like, he wasn't trying to be rude and everything. And Monique is like, oh, he was rude. And I'm just like, girl, calm down. He was rude for a reason. You talked shit about him and his marriage towards the end of this season a lot. So him being upset with you and not wanting to respond to your greeting is very valid. She says she felt on the trip that everything that Angel was doing was on her own and that she didn't have any support from him. And that's why she said the whole Bobby be a dad stuff, in that scene that we saw when they were on their trip. And it reminded her of herself and how she used to be angry because she did everything by herself. And I'm just like, this is projecting. Like, there's no other word to use to describe this. How do you know the dynamic of their relationship when you only you only saw them for those few moments? Like, you don't have any basis to your opinions. It doesn't make sense to me. And it does feel like you're projecting. And I know for sure that old Monique would have reacted the same way Angel did, if not more, should somebody have been scrutinizing your relationship and your marriage like that. Hell, that was part of the reasons why you had a lot of beef with ladies because a lot of them were coming for your marriage. So I just find it weird that all of a sudden now the things that were an issue for you back in the day, now you're the exact same person doing the same thing to Angel. No, you're not being supportive at all. And even if you had all these um worries and all that, why not take it directly to Angel? You spoke to every other lady on this cast except for the person that you were talking about. And that just makes me know for sure that this was hidden, there was a hidden agenda to this, and it was definitely more so a takedown on Angel and a smear on Bobby's name. So yeah, definitely not cool, Monique. And I was very disappointed by that, saying that this season because I actually really like you and I really expected so much more to you, or in your return to this show. But I just feel like it's been a flop so far. And honestly, if they don't bring you back next season, I don't really mind it because you didn't really bring much to the show in this season. Let me know what you guys think. I definitely feel like Monique coming back this season was a flop. It didn't give what I expected it to give. They move on to Stacy and Timo and ask Stacy and her dating life, and they ask Stacy once more again, like, did you date Chris? She says she has never been on a date with Chris and that the picture circulating on social media was them in a 25 sitting dinner table. I'm just like, huh? And even the other ladies are like, huh? Like, what are you saying? I remember vividly this season on a CCTV camera, I think, where she was talking to Jassi and Ashley, saying, when she and Timu were separated or divorced, actually, she saw people, Timo saw people and all that, and one of the people that she saw was Chris. That isn't giving, 25-seater dining experience, and Chris was one of them. Again, this is what I mean. Stacy be lying about the most stupid things. Why not just own up and be like, yes, I dated Chris. We went on a couple of dates, but it wasn't anything serious. And when it was time, when I started to reconcile things or whatever with my ex, I stopped all communication with him. book closed. Nobody will ask her anything about it again. But it's the fact that she constantly denies that this ever happened. When we literally have you on camera saying there was something with you and Chris, you did date. It never gave group dating situation. Like I don't know. I don't know how you put defend Stacey in this whole Chris matter. I think it's very weird that she's lying about something so stupid. And like I said, this is why I cannot fully go up for Stacey. It is ridiculous, and all the ladies find it ridiculous too. And then, Monique is like, okay, well, I do have something to show you guys on the cast regarding that. I know you wouldn't be able to air it on the show, but just listen to this. And everybody is like shocked, like, oh shit, what does Monique have to prove that what's it called? Stacey was dating Chris. And that's pretty much where the episode ends. And I'm just like, damn, no Monique again coming with the receipts. But I really hope that these receipts don't fall flat, Monique, because you've been very flat this whole season. So I'm hoping that this your receipt situation is not a flop. But that's pretty much it on Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, we'll move on to Married to Medicine. So the episode starts off with Angel having this movie premiere for her movie titled Sin or Sinister. I can't remember what it was because at the beginning of the um episode we saw it being called Sin, and then when they were watching the preview it showed Sinister. So I'm not really sure what the name was. But nonetheless, a premiere for one of her movies. The ladies come to support her. Apparently she's been in the entertainment industry for years, acting, singing, and all that. And this was her first big role. I love me a multifaceted queen. I love that she's dabbling on so many things. I think we know that she's a nurse. We know she has her own scrubs line. Now we know that she's in the entertainment industry. I think towards the end of this episode, we also find out that she's in nursing practitioner school. She's in nurse practitioner school, which is just amazing. So I love that for Angel. I love that she's doing all these things, and I just wish her all the best. Simone shares with the ladies that it's couples trip time and that her and Cecil are not in the best place this season, so they're not going to be the ones hosting it. So they extended the hosting, they passed the baton of hosting to Eugene and Heavenly for this year's couples trip. The ladies are surprised, especially Mimi and Heavenly, to hear this. And they don't think that Eugene and Dr. Eugene and Toya are like the best examples or role models to host this type of trip. You don't think that Toya especially is a safe space considering how, first of all, in the beginning of the season, she treated her husband on camera, and just how she has always treated her husband on camera, and also like all the conflicts that she's having with the ladies now. Because I think with Mimi, after this trip that they just came back from the girls' trip, things are a bit rocky with them. With Heavenly, things have always been rocky with Toya and Heavenly. That's no shocker. So they're just like, they don't think that Toya is the best fit to host this kind of event. And I kind of agree with the ladies, but then I also know that Toya is a very big, like, hosting person. This may actually turn out to be a really good trip just because I know that she has the hosting expertise. Like, she's very good at throwing these elaborate parties, hosting these elaborate dinners, and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how this couple's trip plays out. Um, they start the premiere of the movie, and we see that Concessa at the beginning is already out, like she's snoring, and in dreamland already. At the beginning of the movie, and the ladies are laughing at her and all that, and I'm just like, girl. Contessa said, I'm gonna get my sleep. I don't care. I'm here to support, yes, but shit, I'm here already, aren't I? So I may as well just sleep. But overall, the ladies have fun. They enjoyed the premiere. They enjoyed the movie, and yeah, it was nice to see them support Angel in that moment. In the next scenes, the ladies and husbands are prepping for Jamaica. Brandy says that her husband will be staying for one day, and I think she wouldn't be staying for the entire trip because she wouldn't want to miss the first day of school for her kids. And I'm thinking that her kids are probably very young. I can't really remember if they've shown her kids this season yet, but I guess they're young, and I'm just like, couldn't she find a babysitter to watch the kids? Like, this is a once in a lifetime thing as well, like going on a trip with these ladies. You may not be back next season, but then at the same time, honestly, with the things that are going on, the world that we live in with babysitters and all that, you know what? I kind of see it. I get it. I get it. I get it. If the kids are young, for sure, I also understand that. So, bottom line, I don't think she is staying for the entirety of the trip, and I think her husband is staying for only one day so he can go back and watch the kids as well. I think if that's the case, then the kids are very young. So, Brandy's point makes sense. Brandy's point makes sense. But yeah, the couples head to Jamaica. We find out that there have been some hiccups with some of the couples' trips. It comes some of the couples on flights. Mimi and Steve's flight got cancelled, so they're definitely coming, I think, late or the next day. Scott was not sure if he had been cleared to travel internationally yet. He still had to get the approval from his doctors before he was able to travel. Quad Angel, Brandy, Damon, King, and Heavenly are all on a separate flight from everyone, and then Toya, Eugene, Jackie, Cecil, Simone are together, and I think they arrive early to Jamaica. Um, so everyone except Contessa, Scott, and Curtis are arriving to Jamaica on the same day, and I think also Mimi and Scott. Is this Scott that is her husband's name? Mimi and Steve, I think, also are not arriving on the same day. But yeah, Simone, Jackie, Cecil, Toya, and Eugene are in one vehicle, while the others, I think, Quad, Heavenly, Damon, and Brandy are in another vehicle. And on the vehicle with Toya and Eugene, we find out that Curtis is on a business golf trip in Canada, so he may or may not be joining the ladies for this trip. I just find it very convenient that every time, so far, I think, with the past few seasons, when there has been a couple's trip, either Curtis is not around, or Curtis is going to come late, or Curtis is out of the country. Curtis is always out of the country, it seems, whenever filming starts. Like, that is when he's like, oh, okay, I have to fly out. And I just find that very interesting because ever since that whole cheating scandal that came out with him a few years ago, we've not really been seeing much of Curtis. I just hope that Curtis is on his best behavior wherever he is in any part of the world that he is in, and he's not bringing embarrassment to Jackie again. Because that was just foolishness that he was able to cheat on that lady in a whole damn airport or in a whole damn hotel, like wherever it was that they were. I hope he is not moving mad, okay? And I hope he's actually on these work trips or on these golf trips that he says or claims to be on. But yeah. We also find out that Cecil and Simone had flown separately because Cecil's flight had gotten cancelled and Simone didn't want to forfeit her Delta flight privileges to fly with him using another airline. Period. Like, I'm not going to downgrade my seat just because you got downgraded. At the end of the day, we're going to meet at the same destination. So I'm just going to come through luxury. You can come through basic. That's your business. And I love that for Simone. I love that for Simone. They finally arrived to their villa, and they are warmly welcomed by the staff with Jamaican flags. I think the staff immediately know the Jamaican in the group, which is King, and they immediately connect. And so yeah, it's like, how did you know that this guy was Jamaican too? So King is just like, yeah, it's a Jamaican thing. Like, we just know ourselves and all that. And I guess the same thing can be said for other Africans, and all that, because I know for sure that when I meet a Nigerian, I know for sure immediately that they're Nigerian. Once they speak, I know that you're Nigerian. So maybe it's the same thing for Jamaicans and Caribbeans and all that. Let me know in the comment section. Before they pick their rooms, Toya and Eugene shared that they have a pledge of friendship drafted to set the tone for the trip. Basically, the pledge says that any issue caused by any of the couples would have them sent to their room, kind of like a timeout situation. And I'm just like, all of us should be ready to get timeouts then, because we know that whenever this particular group goes on their couples trip, it's never anything short of drama. It's always drama every night, every day in these their couple games. So all of you should get ready to get timeout at this point. Nobody is escaping it. They all finally get the keys to their rooms, and their rooms are beautiful, the views are beautiful, everything just looks beautiful for everyone, and it seems like everyone is satisfied with their accommodation. In Quad's room, she is hoping that her and King are talking, and their hope is that this couple's trip helps rejuvenate their relationship, And I'm just laughing in my head because we clearly know that he didn't, considering you guys are broken up now and King has a lot to say in on social media about how he's done with that and blah blah blah, and he has moved on from that. So it'll be interesting to see what you have to say in the reunion concerning, what went down after the couples trip, or what went down after the cameras went down, no pun intended. So yeah. On the other hand, Simone and Cecil are chilling by the beach and, reminiscing about, early on in their relationship, whenever they would take their kids for spring breaks and everything to Jamaica. I guess Jamaica has been a hot spot for them with their family. So they're just reminiscing on memories of the past when they were very happy in their relationship and when things were a lot simpler with them. And honestly, aside from, Simone yelling and Cecil just being laid back and neutral in situations when it revolves around those kids, I am low key deep down, I am rooting for them, because if you take out all those factors, they have a good time together. Like, Simone is always laughing when she's around Cecil. They joke, like they bounce off each other's energy very well. And I'm just hoping that they both can hear each other out, and move and work on these issues that seem to be coming up so much in their relationship, because at the end of the day, deep down it's so obvious that these two love each other. It's so obvious that these two know each other to a T. They know each other's triggers, they know each other's spots, G spots and everything. So I'm really rooting for the both of them. I think that if they both put in the effort and both seek out, maybe professional help and all that, being maybe a therapist or a counselor, family therapist, relationship counselor or something, they can actually take their relationship to the next step, because the foundations are there. It's just unfortunate that there are some cracks right now that they have not been able to sort out the past couple of years, and everything is piling on now and may possibly crumble the whole foundation. So I'm still rooting for them. This scene was really nice to see, them just having fun and not screaming and yelling. It was nice to see. So I'm really hoping that they can work things out. And if they're not able to work things out, it's also okay to separate. As long as their peace of mind, I think that their peace of mind should just be prevalent in this. If both of them are not willing to put in the efforts, then maybe they should just separate. I'm hoping that they are able to, you know, work on things together, hear each other out and work on things. But if they're not able to, then they're not able to, and maybe they do need to separate. In this moment, however, it was nice to see and refreshing to see them have fun. Jackie comes to Heavenly's room and we find out that Curtis is actually gonna make it to the trip. He's just gonna be coming the next day, due to flight delays. Then Jackie ends up bringing up the Met Gala to Heavenly. Heavenly doesn't want to hear about it, considering, she can't wrap her head around how Jackie has made Toya first of all the chair, and is allowing Toya to make all these changes now to the Met Gala, or advocating for Toya now regarding this whole contributions thing with the ladies. But Heavenly finally caves in to help Jackie rally the ladies around to help out. At this point, yes, you guys have made your point. You guys have teased her. I see both sides, honestly. Like, teaching Toya a lesson, because she has always been very loud about her own support with this whole Met Gala thing and not cared. And all of a sudden now she's caring about, wanting things to be a certain way, or wanting this to do, you guys to do this and all that, or contribution should be this way, and just has so much to say about it now. But at the end of the day, maybe we should just overlook Toya. Like, at the end of the day, you're not doing this for Toya. You're doing this to help the community. You're doing this to make an impact in the medical community in Atlanta or wherever it is. So maybe just overlook it and just do it for the cause. Don't do it for Toya, just do it for the cause. Let bygones be bygones. Hopefully Toya has learned her lesson with this year's Met Gala, and sees the amount of effort that it requires and why the ladies have always tried to push her to contribute. And hopefully moving forward from now, she takes it seriously. But yeah, just focus on the cause. The ladies should just focus on the cause and just make Toya a non-factor in all this. Because at the end of the day, it's bigger than Toya. It's the evening and couples are heading out to go to the club, except for Heavenly and Damon. And we see them having fun. They were very late. They were dancing around and everything. They just seemed to be having a really good time. We are then fast forwarded to 10 hours later, and they're just all reminiscing on how much fun they had, how much they enjoyed themselves last night, while they're preparing to embark on the medical mission that they set out to do. So, the medical mission, for those that don't know, is something that this cast has been doing, I think, since the beginning or since the first cast trip that they went to. I think initially it was Mariah that had brought up the initiative where anytime they came to Jamaica, they always like visited the community. They always offered medical advice, medical help and assistance to people in the community for free. So that's just something that they typically do whenever they are in Jamaica. So this time they're doing it again, but with a twist. I think instead of giving medical advice and all that, or medical assistance, I think they're donating items like stationaries, personal care items, cleaning items, toiletries, and all that to schools, to females, to daughters, and all that. Just basically giving back to the community this time, which I think is amazing. They all get into their vehicles and head out. They talk about the Met Gala again, or they bring up the Met Gala again, and I'm just like, Jackie, stop bringing up this thing. Like, let's just have a good time. You guys can focus on the Met Gala when you get back to Atlanta. Yeah. Heavenly and Talia get into an argument, obviously, again about this whole Met Gala thing, and about Toya's stance with the Met Gala, wanting to teach her a lesson now. Heavenly says that she should just apologize. I think that Toya has apologized now. Is Toya's apology sincere? Time will tell. But Heavenly saying, "Oh, Toya should apologize." We've already gone past that. You don't want to accept the apology, and that's okay. But yeah, we do know that Toya has apologized. She did apologize last episode about the way that she had been with the whole Met Gala situation. But Dr. Eugene says he is not apologizing for anything. They are not apologizing for anything. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess 10 steps backwards now, because your wife did apologize last episode, but then now you are standing 10 toes down saying you are not going to apologize. You both are not going to apologize. So which one is it? Is Heavenly right? Is there no remorse with this whole thing? Are you guys just, is your wife just saying things just to make the ladies, fall in line with her and all that? Because I find it weird that she did apologize last episode, and now you are saying you are not apologizing. So clearly, you guys are on the same page of how you've been treating this whole Met Gala thing and all that, and don't want to be held accountable. They finally get to their location, and Toya asks them to table the Met Gala discussion, and is trying to change the subject back to the now, which is the outreach. While she's speaking, Damon tries to interject to like calm things down between her and Heavenly, but they are both talking at the same time. Like Damon and Toya are talking at the same time, and then Heavenly yells like, "Let my man speak." Toya, he's talking and all that, and I'm just like, excuse me, Toya was talking before your man started speaking. He should be the one to keep quiet right now. I don't understand this pedestal that Heavenly puts her man on. Okay, you can put your man on this pedestal, no problem. But to be shushing other people because of your man, for what? Especially when he's in the wrong. He's the one that was talking above Toya. Like, Toya should not stop speaking. Things like that with Heavenly, that's where I just get irritated, because it's like, it's very male centered. It's very misogynistic, like the way she acts sometimes. Like, I don't really understand what her point was in that moment. And even the other ladies are like, no, like, let Toya speak, like, no. And even Damon is like, Heavenly, stop, like, you're not helping the situation. So like, your whole basis of the argument at that point just didn't make sense, because Damon was the one in the wrong. But they all finally shush Heavenly. And then Toya says, you know what, Toya didn't even like react. Like, she was just like over it. Like, let's just talk, let's just pray. Like, let's just do what we need to do here. I'm very happy that she didn't even give Heavenly the satisfaction to see her, what's the word? Triggered by that statement. I was definitely triggered, but I'm glad that she didn't even she paid Heavenly dust and made Heavenly look stupid in that moment. And when they're finally able to keep Heavenly quiet, Toya says a word of prayer before they head out, and then, you know, they head out of the vehicle. Curtis then joins them, and we find out that he actually um, came first place in his golf tournament. I didn't really care for that information, whatever. But they end up going into the building, going into the school, and meeting with King's cousin, who I believe owns a charity organization or is a charity organizer. And she essentially gives them a rundown of how the day is going to be like when the kids are coming, the things that they have, the things that they were able to get for them, blah blah blah, and all that. And so before you know it, the kids and the moms start arriving to the location, as well as Dr. Scott, Contessa, Mimi, and Stevie. They also arrive as well. So that's pretty good. The whole team is here now for this cause. I don't think Quad and King and Angel had come yet, because I think Quad was still like getting dressed before they left, so she ended up also coming late. But they all eventually get to the location. All the doctors make a speech and introduce themselves. All the medical practitioners and doctors and all that make a speech and introduce themselves to the kids. Soon it's Heavenly's turn, and of course, in true Heavenly style, has is different. While she's speaking and trying to get her point across, she uses the word damn, and even all the kids are like, oh my god, she used a bad word and everything. And Heavenly's like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And one of the ladies is like, oh, you used damn, like you used a bad word. And Heavenly's like, oh, damn is not a bad word. Just like, Heavenly, for somebody who claims to be so heavenly, like you do the most unheavenly things sometimes and you say the most unheavenly things sometimes, how can you forget that you're around kids? Like, why would you use that word? Ugh, heavenly. You can't just be on her side sometimes. Like, she just does the most crazy things. But anyways, at some point, after the whole introduction and everything, they start to share things for the kids. They're playing with the kids and everything. Heavenly pulls Toya to the side to settle things, and of course, in true Heavenly fashion again, she apologizes. And Toya, of course, takes that apology with a grain of salt, and understandably so, because one thing about Heavenly, she's very quick to give an apology, and then the next day do the exact same thing that she apologized for. So I don't blame Toya for not accepting the apology, but just allowing it to slide, because at the end of the day, that is not what they're here for. There are bigger fish to fry right now, and this cause right now is way more important than Heavenly and anything that has to do with Heavenly. Overall, it's an amazing cause. They have fun with the kids, and this is honestly something that I really love about this franchise. How they do all these, like, they consistently do all these things to give back to the community, to raise awareness to the community. It's just really nice always seeing them do all these things in general. And honestly, this is why they are like my favorite franchise at the moment. King and Damon at some point are sitting together and having a conversation, and Damon lets it be known that left to him, he didn't want Heavenly to run for office, but he will support her regardless in whatever venture that she wants to do, because she supports him as well. King chimes in as well in relation to him and Quad's IVF journey, and how yes, he agrees and all that, but like he wonders sometimes if the way he shows up for her will be reciprocated, or like if she is able to reciprocate that in moments where he needs her to show up for him. And I found that interesting. um Dr. Eugene joins them and thanks King and Quad for helping set up this outreach with them, because like I said, they were in contact with King's cousin who owns a charity, and I guess because of that connection, they were able to, this event was able to be successful. So he's thanking King and Quad for their help and all that, and King is like, no problem at all. They come to the end of the day, and Toya gives a thank you speech to all the couples for all their support and love and everything, and says that after this they'll be heading back to their villa to have lunch. And then we see some clips, you know, future clips of what to expect in that dinner, where they're obviously going at it, yelling at each other and calling out each other on things. I think there's a scene where we see Curtis basically telling King that, you know, having a kid out of wedlock is not good and everything. Yeah, it just seems like whatever is coming in the next episode, or whatever is to come in this whole dinner that they're about to step into, is going to be one for the books. There's going to be a lot of drama as per usual. And maybe everybody's going to get a timeout at this point, because it seems like everybody was yelling at the top of their lungs in the scene that we saw. But that's pretty much it. This was a really good episode. I think both Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine, both episodes were actually pretty good. I would give them like both an A minus. They were pretty good. And I'd definitely love to hear what you guys thought of them as well. Again, if you would like a subscriber shout out, follow the instructions on the screen for you to get featured on one of my upcoming long form content. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications again. And I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye. Success.